Game Changers Magazine, Game Changers Media Network, Voices of the Village podcast, and we're back with attorney James Mays, again celebrating 50 years providing our community in the state of Georgia in legal aid. As an attorney.
Yes.
Mr. Mays, before we went to commercial break, Attorney Mays, I'm sorry, before we went to commercial break, you talked about receiving a full ride scholarship to Iowa, creating a publication at Clark College, Clark Atlanta University now, as well as being a leader on the campus of Clark Atlanta University.
Right.
I want to go back to the publication, the newspaper and the magazine that you guys created. How important was it for you guys to create your own narrative?
We at Clark at that time, the campus newspaper, the student newspaper, was only published every 2 months.
Okay.
And we had more to say. We had things that we thought we could communicate better than the regular Clark Atlanta University newspaper. We thought it was much too conservative and wasn't pushing for ideas that we had.
Okay.
So we came out with a weekly newspaper called Your Mama is Black. And we were able to get a machine to print it off. And we had one professor who provided us with the paper every week to be able to do that. And in addition to that, we started a student bank at Clark because there were so many kids who just didn't have any money. They couldn't go to out on weekends. They couldn't go get something to eat, or they couldn't afford to go to the football game, or whatever it was.
Okay.
And so we came up with this idea, let's form a bank.
Okay.
So we formed our own bank, elected a president for the bank, ran it out of the student union so that students could go in and borrow money. And we asked certain professors if they would give us the money to start that program off.
Oh, wow.
And there were professors who, give us $50, $100, or whatever it was.
Right.
And we literally ran a bank out of the student union.
Out of the student union.
Out of the student union.
So you guys were self-sufficient and practicing the efforts of self-sufficiency.
Right.
As well as getting education.
Right, particularly those who were getting degrees in business.
Okay.
I was getting a degree in business, and to have that bank and the other businesses that we were trying to run, because we then also, this was before Clark built this brand new student center that it has now.
Okay.
We just had a basement of one of the dorms.
Okay.
But we set up a restaurant, so you could come in and buy food and other things like that, hamburgers, things that were really cheap.
Okay.
And the students could come in and purchase from us as well.
Okay.
So, yeah, we had quite a few things coming up. We developed something we call the Wall of Pride, and we had pictures of all of the most famous black people in the country.
Okay.
And we posted them up on the board. It was something that we were very proud. We didn't have any money.
Right.
But we were able to do these things without having a lot of money.
So it looked, I guess now we seeing where the term "find a way" makes one come from.
Yeah.
Because you guys, it's almost like a My Brother's Keeper type situation where everybody's coming from across the world to Clark University, Clark College, Clark Atlanta University, and you guys are creating what we call an economic base.
Right.
Right. Now, as an attorney, having knowledge in the legal field, having knowledge in the business field and media, how do you think that propelled Clark Atlanta University to what it's become today?
Well, you won't believe this, but
Okay.
It was one of our ideas that we joined the universities.
Okay.
It was our idea. I made a speech it must have been 1969,
Okay.
in which we talked about the unification of the Atlanta University Center. We thought all the colleges
Right.
should join, but there was a professor there who got that done. He joined Atlanta University
Okay.
and Clark College after we graduated.
Okay.
But we can show you the magazine articles that we wrote saying that ought to be done.
Yes.
And so we pushed for that the schools, instead of wasting money, having 4 or 5 different libraries, having 4 or 5 different gymnasiums, 3 or 4 different football fields,
Right.
that we ought to have one university, the largest black university in the world.
That's right.
In Atlanta.
That's right.
And I still think that's a good idea, and hopefully one day that will happen. But it's the alumni who won't let that happen.
Right. Okay.
They don't like the idea of joining the colleges, but there are some of us who think that economically and for other reasons that would be a wonderful idea.
Well, I think it's becoming that, because let's take a look at what they just did. Well, I think Arthur Blank donated a new football field.
Right.
We're playing top tier football like never before. We're beating teams, so that means that we're bringing in a better breed of athleticism.
Right.
So I think the cornerstone that you guys laid to pave a path for that, I think that's coming about now from what I'm seeing all over social media, because the CAU pride is there now. I'm telling you, it's
Well, I
definitely.
know it's definitely worked with Atlanta University and Clark College coming
Okay.
together. It's a beautiful place.
Right.
And so, I mean, I think if it could be done for the whole system, who knows?
The whole HBCU system
Right, in Atlanta.
in Atlanta. Okay,
Talking about
okay,
Atlanta.
okay.
Yeah, I think it'd be wonderful.
Wow, wow.
So, so that you would have we have a medical school at Morehouse now, but you could have major schools, journalism schools, and others that, could be major schools if you took each of the schools and made them a specialist in a particular area.
Absolutely, you're absolutely correct.
Right.
Now, you guys also created what you call Pride.
Yes.
Pride, like I guess that was that a political organization?
Political.
Okay, tell us a little bit about that Pride organization and how that played its role in developing to where we are today.
Yeah, Pride, we call that Persons Ready in Defense of Ebony. That was the way we came up to say that. And basically what we were trying to do is you won't believe this, but at that time we were still calling ourselves Negroes in the 1960s.
Okay.
And colored. Some people still use the word colored.
Wow.
Back then.
Wow.
And so we were just simply trying to do things like, no, we want to be called black.
Okay.
And so a lot of us, it may seem silly now, but a lot of us walked around in dashikis.
Yes, yes.
We wore African garb.
Okay.
A lot. And so we were just trying to get people to understand, hey, you are black and you are an African. The term African American hadn't been created at that time.
Wow.
Even Afro wasn't really a term that was used. And so we were trying to create new terms, new words, talk about issues that maybe a lot of other students hadn't thought about, hadn't reached that level yet.
Right, right.
And so with that organization, that came about. We could see a real change in the university.
Okay.
A real change.
Man, that's dynamic, because I can see that blueprint kind of shaping across Metro Atlanta right now. Like the things that you're saying, the ideologies that you're presenting, moving forward, and how Atlanta is growing into what it's growing to be, where you see, hundreds and hundreds, of African American entrepreneurships and African American owned businesses. So,
right.
I can see the CAU laying the blueprint and being, like one of the founding fathers and the trailblazers of what Atlanta is today.
Oh, yeah. So that CAU today is truly one of the leaders.
Absolutely.
In Atlanta. And they're doing a wonderful job over there.
Awesome, awesome. Now, last year, I believe it was, you hosted a family reunion.
Yes.
Was it 2 years ago?
2 years ago.
Okay, like 2 years ago. And being an attorney runs in your family.
Yes, we have a couple other ones.
You got a couple. Your son is an attorney.
Yes.
Right?
And my sister.
And your sister.
Yes.
Okay, what drove you guys to go to such a high standard in your family? Because for a family to have 3 lawyers, you have some families who's just looking for one.
Yeah. Right.
Right.
It's hard to explain, but it begins with the right kind of family.
Okay.
And my family, not unlike a lot of families.
Right.
My parents stayed together the whole time till they both died.
Wow.
They married for life.
Okay.
And so as a result of that, we came up with the spirit of being educated.
Right, right.
We believed in it. But the other thing, my mom was the type that when I went into the Air Force, a lot of my friends went off to college.
Okay.
And so when she would write me, she would say, Jim, I saw Lord Fisher this weekend. He's home from college, really looking good.
Okay.
So the whole time I was in the Air Force, she would be reminding me about these people that were in college.
Okay.
And how they were doing. So that was in my mind from the time, I was about to get out of the Air Force, I'm thinking, okay, now I'm going back to college.
Right, right.
So, and then my baby sister, who followed me, who also ended up going to law school, came to Atlanta,
Okay,
and she was a freshman at Clark College when I was a senior.
okay,
So
okay,
we both were there at the same time. She saw me go off to law school,
okay,
and I'm sure she was thinking, oh, okay, I can do that too,
okay,
And then, of course, my son was born when I was in law school
okay, okay,
at the University of Iowa.
okay.
And, I don't think there was ever any doubt that he was going to be an attorney.
Man. And so what type of law did you actually study? Like, I know some people specialize in criminal law, business law, family law. What was your niche?
Not in law school. I was a generalist in law school.
Okay.
And so just every subject, I tried to get a little bit of it.
A little bit of okay.
Because I didn't know at the time what I wanted to do.
Wow.
So, we just studied across the board, just every type of law you can imagine in law school.
Okay.
And then my senior year in Iowa, if you're a senior,
Uh-huh.
you can actually practice law.
Oh wow.
So I went to work for the Hawkeye Legal Aid Society
Okay.
in my senior year and started practicing law with the Hawkeye Legal Aid Society. In the afternoon, go to school. In the morning, you work for the Hawkeye Legal Aid Society in the afternoon. So
Right.
I would do all kind of stuff that wasn't too tough.
Right, right.
Nothing that would take me away from my studies.
Right.
But the kind of thing I could do, like maybe a divorce case or somebody needs some documents written up or something like that.
Okay.
At Iowa, you're also required to write a thesis.
Okay.
And that's why it's called a Juris Doctorate,
Okay.
because you end up writing a thesis, and when you finish that, then
Right.
you're eligible for the doctorate degree.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I was going to school in the morning, working for the Hawkeye Legal Aid Society, and writing my thesis at night.
Wow.
So it was pretty busy.
And all of this managing a family?
I was married and
Okay.
had a baby
Okay.
in law school, so it wasn't easy.
It wasn't easy.
But I never thought I would quit. Never thought I wouldn't finish.
Right.
And we finished on time, passed the bar in Iowa, and moved back to Georgia. When I was about to finish at Iowa, I got a letter from the president of Clark College
Okay.
saying, "Mr. Mays, understand you're about to graduate. We'd like to offer you a position at Clark College to come back as a professor in our political science department."
Okay.
So I said, "Wow, okay." I came back to Atlanta and went to work at Clark College in the political science department, teaching pre-law students.
Man, that's such an honor. So you was able to, kind of get your education at CAU and give back at the same time. I mean, so it looks like you were a big giver in your whole walk of doing everything you did, because you had a passion for people, is what I'm kind of sensing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So came back and had a ball. In my second year, I was named as one of the top 5 professors at Clark.
Okay.
There was some students voted on that, and I was in that top 5. But after the second year, I decided, well, I'm going to try something different.
Okay.
And I decided to go to work for the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission
Okay.
in Atlanta
Okay.
as a trial attorney,
Okay.
where we were suing companies that discriminated against minority people.
Man.
Yeah, so I did that for a couple of years in Atlanta.
Okay. And how did that work out? Because it was a lot of discrimination going on.
A lot of discrimination, and we were suing a lot of companies. And one company came in, a New York fashion company,
Okay.
who has their lawyers in St. Louis.
Okay.
And we sued them, and when we beat them, they offered me a job to come to work for them.
Oh wow.
So I went to work for them in St. Louis on their legal staff,
Okay.
and did that for the next 30 years. Became a vice president of human resources, and spent 30 years with that company to the day.
Wow.
From September 29th, 1975 to September 29th, 2005.
20,005.
2005. Retired and moved into this house in 2005.
And this is a beautiful home, man.
Yeah.
Your wife has it decorated beautifully
Yeah,
for the
thank you.
holidays, man. I mean, it's definitely homey. You guys, we got to go to another commercial break, and we're going to wrap this up in our last and final segment. We got attorney James Mays, CAU alumni, CAU trailblazer, celebrating 50 years of providing legal aid to the community, the state of Georgia, Iowa. I mean, United States. I mean, you've been all over the nation providing legal services, and we just want to thank you, Attorney Mays, for giving your time and effort of 50 years to, serving the community. We thank you, but we got to go to a commercial break. Game Changers Magazine, Game Changers Media Network, Voices of the Village podcast. You guys stay tuned. Ease up.